Hey, insiders, have you ever wondered how iconic copyrights and evergreen songs, such as At Last, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and the Chattanooga Choo Choo are licensed for use in visual media? Well, if you have, then you don't want to miss this episode with Julia Riva, president of Harry Warren Entertainment. She discusses the criteria that goes into making her decisions on placing classics into film and television, and the ever-growing reliance of music syncs for the income streams of independent music publishers, and much, much more. Coming right up. We're here at the Globe Theater Universal Studios lot in Southern California. We managed to catch up with Julia Riva, who runs the Harry Warren Entertainment and his estate. Julia, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ritch. Thanks for having me.
You know, one of the things that I'm curious about, you've been involved with publishing for a while, and what is the state of publishing today? Has the role of the publisher or the state of publishing changed a lot over the last 5-10 years?
Well, I think it has, in that it's way more, competitive. There are a lot more players in the ring, and you also have to be extremely tech savvy to participate, or you're, gone are the days when you'd send someone a CD or a tape. Forget it. Nobody wants that. So that was the challenge for me as a publisher. But I think basically it's still the same thing of having the right song for the right scene, picture to music, like it's always been.
So it's about material.
Right, it's about material, absolutely.
Speaking of material, you preside over one of the most evergreen classic catalogs, which is the Harry Warren catalog. We're talking Chattanooga Choo Choo. We're talking I Only Have Eyes for You. We're talking Boulevard of
Broken Dreams.
We're talking many, many more classics.
Right.
Having a catalog like that, it would seem to me that that when you're talking about that many classics, that the preservation of their value, not only their usage, but the preservation of their value becomes very important to you in terms of how you use them, how often you use them, and what you use them for.
Right.
Can you talk to that in relation to the Harry Warren catalog?
Sure. Because we have, I'm very blessed to have classics. And one of our, outside of the top 10 earners, like Chattanooga Choo Choo, as you said, and At Last, we have That's Amore, which, although was not Harry's most favorite song, has proved to be the workhorse of the catalog. So it's just very interesting to me, because I didn't take the catalog on, well, it's been like 25 years ago, but to learn and to see all the amazing songs that he's written from the 20s to the 80s. And to, like you say, to preserve and make sure that these copyrights stay relevant. And that they don't lose their values, and you don't license something for $10.99. And in my case, usually because so many great artists have recorded these songs, it's still a challenge to get the master, make sure that everything gets together, that the co-publisher is on the same page that you are. It's a challenge.
When you license one of these evergreens,
right,
to a film, especially to a commercial,
right,
do they ask you for a period of exclusivity where you will not license this out to anyone else, you will not put it into a movie while we're running this campaign? Is that?
Yeah, yes, they do. Absolutely. Okay. And, usually we had That's Amore. It was in a huge UPS commercial, fantastic, where, now this is an interesting thing, where they re-recorded the song and they did parody lyrics to suit the UPS. Okay. So, that was a decision that we had to make. Did we want to do that? Was that going to in any way devalue the copyright? And I think that because my grandfather wrote these great melodies, that it wouldn't. I think his stamp is so strong, and these songs are so much a part of the fabric of our lives. I hate to sound like the cotton commercial, but that people get it. I mean, I wouldn't put it in, I'm not going to say what I wouldn't do, but, I really think that as long as you're careful and you're true to what, for me, I have to be true to what I think my grandfather would want, because he was a testy old Italian man, who was very opinionated. So I always think, what would Daddy want to do?
Right.
And that's me, of course, because I'm in charge of this stuff. And but for other people who have these same things, I think it's really important to realize the value of what you have and how you just never know when something's going to come up where your song is going to be used, and how carefully you have to manage the contracts and how it's going to be used, and what they're going to pay, and like you said, the term, how long it's going to run. I think all those things are really important publishing things that you have to pay attention to.
One of the things too, I think with I'd say evergreens are classics, and I'm wondering if you abide by this or if you do this, that I've heard other publishers do, is they re-record them in a modern way to try to get contemporary records off of these songs. Is that something that you feel you'd like to do with some of the classics in your catalog? Or?
Well, I have done it. I've done, in fact, I have a lullaby collection. I have a children's collection, because Harry wrote a lot of absolutely darling kid-friendly songs. So I try to make all these things available. I kind of go through the catalog, and it's very fun in a way. I love this because you kind of Rolodex through and see what's there, and there's always some marvelous surprise. And so I have done that. And in my other publishing company, Red Queen, I like to get those artists, hopefully, to redo a Harry classic in a modern way. And so I've done quite a lot of them, and it's quite fun.
Okay.
So I think everybody should do it,
All right. You mentioned Red Queen, which is another catalog.
Right.
The empire of publishing companies you have.
Right.
I'm curious, you're developing that catalog right now, and that is the modern catalog that you run for songwriters and artists
right.
on Red Queen.
Uh-huh.
Here's my question to you about that, Julia. Today, I mean, a lot of our listeners and, viewers on MUBUTV are songwriters.
Uh-huh.
They're up-and-coming producers and musicians.
Right.
They would be very curious as to what is the criteria you use in your company to say, this is a writer we want to work with.
Right.
Versus, no, we don't. Because you must be hit on thousands of times a month with submissions and so forth, and yet you only sign a certain few. So what's that criteria?
My criteria, because, of course, Harry Warren was king of the Hollywood musical and an incredible melody writer.
Mm-hmm.
I really look for things that are, to me, have that feel of amazing talent. And it doesn't have to be somebody young, because I have signed some, what I call my undiscovered. I've signed Paul Rossler, who was in the Screamers. He's an old punk guy who writes these incredible songs and these incredible melodies. Mm-hmm. And so I signed him because I thought, wow, he's over there slaving away in his studio and hadn't really paid attention to his copyrights. And that interested me. So I'm looking for, men, women who really are talented musicians and who, I feel fit in. I'm going to use the Berry Gordy theory, where Berry Gordy said he only had people who fit into the family. I just want to work with people who have a like mind, who really want to be successful, because nowadays we've got all these humongous things and social media and Twitter and in it, and I don't know, everything. Who are going to promote themselves and who are out there and trying to make a place for themselves in music. And that's really important to me because it's hard enough nowadays to get things placed because of the competition. So I need my writers to be, chugging along with me because we have, our small staff and that's what's good about us. We're small. We're a boutique company, so we can give you lots of attention.
Okay.
And, we do.
That's good.
And, I can't tell you how much I love to listen to my submissions and see who's going to fit in and who I like. And
Julia, in listening to you talk about the criteria of what you're looking for, one of the questions that comes to mind as you were speaking is, do you also want your writers and signed artists to be proactive with you? You don't want just somebody to...
Oh, absolutely. Right. I do. Because today it's too hard. I love my artists and they do. They're out there. They're doing shows. They're putting stuff up on Facebook and Twitter and all these things to try to drum up, to be visible. Because this is really what I think music supervisors want now. They want not just a song. They want a personality. They want a band. And then I try to coerce them all to, of course, re-record a Harry Watt classic.
Really?
And that's very fun, too. So, yes, I do want proactive people.
Okay. In your business of publishing and looking at it from sort of an overview point of view as a publisher, what do you see are the greatest areas of growth for the publishing business?
Well, the fact that there are massive amounts of programming. There's everything from the Kardashians to who are those people that are
Ferns.
the guys with the beards, Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
There's
TV programs.
There's a huge amount of music being licensed to these shows, and for me, I want to be able to provide quality music. I don't want to be just a library. I want to, even though I will have some library-like things from my artists, I really think that that's the largest expanse in publishing. In the old days, there were like 4 publishers or 5 publishers that ruled the world, and they owned the writers, and they had them all working in movies or Broadway or whatever. And that was it.
That was it, exactly. You've been in the creative arts, in music as well as in movies, most of your life, your entire life, professionally speaking. And I'm curious if during that time, growing up, or during the time that you've been in it, have there been any books or films that you found personally really inspiring creatively? In this case.
Well, you mean films like? Well, I'm an avid film watcher.
Okay.
I'm just going to speak of this. I'm really very involved now in writing a play about my grandfather.
Okay.
Because there really is nothing about that, using his songs and kind of telling his story. I just went to the opera the other night because my grandfather was a big opera fanatic and we listened to opera all the time. So I think I get a lot of inspiration from who he did, Puccini, and, from the opera, because it's basically like a musical, only old-fashioned. So I think for me, as a young girl, the most that really made an imprint on me was I went to New York with my grandmother, and we went to Broadway. And, I saw my first show, which I think was The Music Man, and I was just like amazed. I mean, even though I'd been seeing all these other films my whole life, like The Gold Diggers, and, I think that it impacted me. I just thought I came from kind of an insular world where everybody there was a performer of some sort.
Right.
So, it was just somebody with a microphone wasn't a stranger to me. I just thought that's what everybody did. And I was kind of shocked when I grew up to find out everybody wasn't at home singing and dancing around a piano.
Right.
So, the inspirations of films, the musicals. And I think Baz Luhrmann is a great example. He really, when I, saw Romeo and Juliet and then Moulin Rouge, I just thought, oh, wow, this guy's got it right. He's taking these amazing things and putting modern music in, and so, they kind of drive me on to want to be able to create that kind of event with my music and the people I represent, including Harry.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's what I get my inspiration from.
Some great food for thought with Julia regarding the licensing of evergreen classic songs into film and TV. So, insiders, question of the day. What really stood out to you in our conversation with Julia? Was it the criteria she uses in determining whether to license her classic songs into film and TV? Or was it the increasing reliance on music placement sites for income? Or maybe it was something else that stood out to you. If you have any ideas or experiences that you'd like to share regarding this video, we'd love to hear from you and connect in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to MUBUTV for more information on how to educate, empower, and engage your music career. You can also check out a summary of this episode, everything we talked about, in the YouTube description as well. And if you enjoyed this video, we'd really love it if you hit the like button and let us know what other kinds of videos and types of content you want to see on our channel. Hit us up in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.